This is Look in the Book with Kay Hester, and today I'm talking to C. Wayne Dawson. C. Wayne Dawson lives in Georgetown and is a well-known author. He wrote Vienna's Last Jihad, and we're going to talk about that because I find that to be a fascinating title, and I have no idea what it's about because I haven't read it yet, but I will. It's available in bookstores and on Amazon. We'll talk about that later. He's also a contributing writer with the Williamson County Sun, and I'm sure you've read his articles. He's a former professor of American and world history, and he's got blogs. Wayne, you do blogs for Central Texas Authors, Sun City Stories, The Battle of Vienna, and The Gates of Vienna, and the man's very prolific. But I want to talk to you today about your latest book. First of all, Vienna's Last Jihad. What are the central themes of the book? With a title like that, it sounds fascinating.
Well, thank you, Kay. Glad to be here. The reason that I chose the title Vienna's Last Jihad is because at this time there was a struggle between two titanic forces in Europe. On the one hand, you had the Ottomans, who were Muslims, of course, and on the other side you had the Holy Roman Empire, which was Christian. And at one point in 1529, the Muslims had surrounded Vienna and vowed to wipe it out and came very close, but they had to withdraw because of the fact that it got to be winter and there was no food for their horses. So that was Vienna's first jihad. But in 1683, what happened is that now they came back for a second try, and this time they came with about 140,000 troops. Vienna was only defended by 11,000 men, with a population of 100,000. They were given the ultimatum by the Muslims, surrender or die, and the survivors will be either killed or enslaved. So this was Vienna's last jihad, and had Vienna fallen, it might have endangered ultimately all of Europe in terms of the Muslims stepping in and taking over. Much
like in Spain, where they came in, and much of their history is kind of intertwined. And you see a lot of their architecture and so forth in Spain. So what encouraged you to write this? I know that you've been a professor of world history, and I guess that's kind of where you got the information, but not everybody who knows about world history writes a book. So what inspired you to do this in this particular subject matter?
Well, actually, my interest in this went back to the first time that I studied world history in junior high school. Oh. And I read about this, and I said, wow, so Europe almost became Muslim. And the only thing that saved the day was that the very last minute I thought, what a wonderful story. And to me, history is a story. If it becomes an academic kind of a scholarly pursuit, it's as dry as dust and it makes me yawn. So to me, I think the only thing that makes history come alive is a story. I thought, what a great story here, because what happened is that the city of Vienna was teetering on the point of collapse and was within hours of falling to the Muslims, and that would have resulted in mass slaughter. And at the very, very last moment, the Polish cavalry appeared on the hills overlooking Vienna and rode to the rescue in alliance with German states.
Polish cavalry?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think I remember this from my junior high history. I know I remember Texas junior high history, but I don't think I remember the one from Vienna. This is fascinating. How long is the book?
Well, I chopped it down to 97,000 words. It was going on to 120,000, but they said, no, you can't do that. This is not a history book, this is a novel. So in order to keep it entertaining and fast-paced, I trimmed it down to about 310 pages.
Okay, that's a good size. Who would be the reader that you would expect to be interested in reading? What kind of readers would you be looking to buy this book?
Well, the type of reader that would really enjoy this would be somebody that likes two things, action and adventure.
Okay.
And of course, they would like it in a historical setting.
I think we all like action and adventure. So that sounds like that would be very interesting. And how did you come up with that title, Vienna's Last Jihad, just as opposed to any other title?
Well, because this was the second time that the Muslims had attempted to take the city. First time in 1529, and they had to turn back. And 1683 was the last time. So it was the last holy war, or jihad, that the Muslims declared on the city of Vienna. And from that time forward, after 1683, the Muslims were in retreat, they were on the defensive, and the Holy Roman Empire was on the offensive. So it was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, turning point in European history.
Sounds fascinating. Now, tell me, Wayne, where can we find your book? Is it going to be found in all the bookstores? Amazon?
Well, it is found on Amazon in both Kindle as well as in paperback versions. It's also available on my website. So anyone that wants to go to it can find it on www.cwaynedawson.com. And it's also going to be available in local book fairs.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to me today. And Vienna's Last Jihad, C. Wayne Dawson. Get the book, look in the book. I think you'll enjoy it. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you very much, Kay. Appreciated being here.